My name is Alara and I am 24 years old. My parents raised me and my younger sister, Cora, in two completely different worlds that somehow existed under the same roof. They would throw money at her whenever she wanted it, spending lavishly even when she didn't ask. I, on the other hand, had to ask for everything, and most of the time, I had to justify my requests in writing, creating detailed arguments for why I should receive any of their money. Most of the time, I was denied and lectured on the importance of working my butt off. Now, after years of funding my sister's extravagant lifestyle, my parents have run out of money. They've come to me, the daughter they refused to help, asking for a bailout. They're about to learn just how well I learned the lessons they taught me. The dynamic was set early on. My sister, Cora, now 21, was the golden child, the miracle they had after years of trying. I was the older one, the trial run, the one who was supposed to be responsible and self-sufficient from the moment I could tie my own shoes. The disparity was never subtle. When Cora wanted a new dress for a school dance, my mother would take her on a shopping spree, returning with bags from expensive boutiques. When I needed a new pair of sneakers for gym class because my old ones had holes, I was required to write a one-page essay on why the purchase was a need and not a want. I detailed the benefits of physical education, the safety hazards of worn-out shoes, and a comparative analysis of different brands to prove I had chosen the most cost-effective option. More often than not, the request would be denied. "This is a good lesson in budgeting, Alara," my father would say, handing the essay back. "You need to learn to make do." Meanwhile, Cora would be in her room, surrounded by new clothes she'd worn once, her closet a testament to their indulgence. They never asked her to justify anything. Her desires were their commands. The most painful lesson, however, came when I was 16. I was a good student, with dreams of going to college to study architecture. My grades were excellent, and my guidance counselor, Mrs. Gable, was confident I could get into a great program. The only hurdle was the financial aid paperwork, specifically the FAFSA form, which required my parents' financial information and signatures. I still remember the night I brought the forms to them. We were in the living room. My father was watching television, and my mother was flipping through a magazine. "I need you to fill these out so I can apply for financial aid for college," I said, my voice filled with a nervous hope. My father didn't even look away from the screen. "We're not doing that," he said flatly. "What?" I thought I had misheard him. "We're not helping you with college in any way," my mother added, finally looking up from her magazine, her expression placid. "If you want to go, you'll need to put yourself through it. Take on the debt yourself." I was stunned, but "I can't even apply for most scholarships or loans without you filling out the FAFSA. It's a federal requirement." "Then I guess you're not going," my father said with a shrug. "It's time you learned to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps." The cruelty of it was breathtaking. It wasn't about the money. It was about the refusal to even perform a simple, legally necessary action that would cost them nothing. Mrs. Gable called them. She pleaded with them, explaining that my future was at stake. They told her, "No." I didn't want a lifetime of debt, so I chose a different path. I didn't go to college. I got a full-time job at a local administrative office, started taking online certification courses in project management, and slowly began to build my own life. My parents didn't care. Either way, I was expected to pay for everything myself. With my sister, it was different. When she turned 16, they bought her a brand new car. When she decided to go to a private liberal arts college with a tuition of $60,000 a year, they paid for 100% of it. They took out loans, mortgaged the house, and drained their savings to cover her expenses, even sending her extra money for shopping and spring break trips. She was their investment. I was their lecture on self-sufficiency. Now that investment has gone bust. They've run out of money and are drowning in the debt they took on for her. And last week, they turned to me. My father called first, his voice uncharacteristically hesitant. "Alara, your mother and I are in a bit of a tight spot. We were wondering if you could help us out." He was vague, but I knew what he was asking for. "I'm not sure what you mean," I said, my voice even. "We're not sure if we can eat or pay our bills this month," he finally admitted, the words choked with a shame he had never shown me. "You should ask Cora," I suggested calmly. "She's the one you have a financial relationship with." They were furious. So was my sister. She called me, her voice shrill with indignation. I can't believe how unfair you're being. You're older. You should be helping them. Unfair. That was the word she used. After a lifetime of watching them shower her with everything while I was taught to beg for scraps, I was being unfair. I didn't get angry. I didn't yell. I simply remembered the lessons they had taught me. And I decided it was time for them to finally experience one of their own lessons firsthand. You're right, I said to my sister, my voice sweet as poison. Let's handle this the way Mom and Dad taught me. Tell them to write me a detailed argument explaining why they need my help. The phone went silent. Then my parents called back. What is this nonsense, Alara? My father demanded. A detailed argument? We're your parents. And you're the ones who taught me that all financial requests must be justified in writing, I replied cheerfully. You wouldn't want me to be a poor steward of my own money, would you? Please include a breakdown of all your expenses, your income, and a thorough explanation for why each request is a need and not a want. I'll review it and get back to you. They hung up on me, but 2 days later, an email arrived. It was a long, rambling document detailing their debts, their bills, and their pleas for help. They needed money for the mortgage, for the car payment, for groceries, for the electric bill. It was a portrait of financial ruin, created by years of their own poor choices. I took a deep breath and began to compose my reply. For every request, I had an answer, crafted from the very words they had used on me for years. To my dear parents and sister, I began. Thank you for submitting your detailed argument for financial assistance. I have reviewed your requests and will respond to each item individually. 1. You need the electric bill paid. I have determined that this is not a need. There are candles, and learning to live with less electricity is a valuable lesson in frugality. You should try to work your butts off to afford such luxuries. Request denied. 2. You need money for food. I have determined that this is also not a need. You have a backyard perfectly suitable for starting a garden. Growing your own food is a fantastic way to learn self-sufficiency. Request denied. 3. You need the mortgage paid. This is a complex issue. However, I believe that if you had simply filled out that FAFSA form for me years ago, I might have a college degree and a higher paying job, and perhaps I would have been in a better position to help you now. But as you taught me, we must all live with the consequences of our decisions. Request denied. I went down the list, denying every single item with a cold, logical cruelty that I had learned from them. I ended the email with a final paragraph. You taught me to pull myself up by my own bootstraps, and I am eternally grateful for that lesson. I am now making sure that you have the same opportunity to learn and grow. As such, I will be blocking all of your numbers and going no contact. I wish you the best of luck on your journey of self-sufficiency. You can do it. Before I hit send, I added one final, satisfying touch. I created a signature with a quote from my father. You have to learn to beg just right and do whatever it took for money, only to be told afterward that you needed your own money because theirs was not for you. Then, I hit send. I blocked their numbers. I blocked Cora. I put a lock on my credit just in case. And for the first time in my life, I felt a profound, exhilarating sense of freedom. The silence lasted for about a week. I imagine it was a week of shock, disbelief, and then dawning horror as they realized I was serious. The first sign that my message had landed came from an aunt who left me a voicemail. Alara, your parents are very upset. This is no way to treat family. You owe them for raising you. I listened to the message and then deleted it. I didn't owe them for doing the bare minimum required by law for a child they chose to have. Then the real chaos began. Cora, unable to reach me directly, started a campaign on social media. She posted a long, tearful story on Instagram about her cold, heartless, older sister who had abandoned their struggling parents in their time of need. She painted me as a monster, jealous of her success, who was now taking a cruel revenge. The post was filled with carefully selected photos of her looking angelic and our parents looking frail and sad. For a moment, I felt a pang of anger. But then I remembered the second lesson they taught me. Do whatever it takes. I logged into my own, rarely used social media accounts. I didn't post an angry rant. I simply posted a screenshot of my email to them, the one where I denied their requests using their own words. I captioned it. My parents taught me some very important lessons about financial responsibility. I'm so glad I can finally share their wisdom with them now that they need it. I also attached a short, factual timeline. Age 16. Denied a signature on a FAFSA form. Age 21. Sister's $60,000 a year college fully funded. Age 24. Asked to bail them out of the debt they incurred for her. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Friends from high school who remembered the situation with my guidance counselor started commenting. "I remember this. Your parents were awful about it." "This is insane, Alara. Good for you." The story spread beyond my small circle of friends. A local news blog picked it up. The headline read, "Daughter uses parents' own cruel lessons against them in financial standoff." Cora's perfect narrative crumbled. Her comment section, once filled with sympathy, was now flooded with people calling her an entitled brat. She eventually deleted the post, but the damage was done. The family had entered the find out phase of mess around and find out. "I don't know what they will do now. Maybe my father will get a second job. Maybe my mother will learn what a budget is. Maybe Cora, with her expensive degree, will finally have to get a job that actually pays her bills and her parents' bills. It is not my problem anymore." For years, I felt like a ghost in my own family, a chore they had to endure. They tried to teach me that my worth was conditional, that I had to beg for their approval. But the real lesson I learned was from my own struggle. My worth was never up for their negotiation. I built my life not with their money, but despite their neglect. I have a good job, a home I pay for myself, and a future that belongs to me. And that is an inheritance they can never take away.